Hi, everybody. Welcome to tonight's program with Coach Menachem July. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Sunday night, July 20th, 25, on this interesting topic. I want to first start off saying tonight's share is 237. Thank you for all the people that posted on their statuses and let people know about it. I say it's a place for Sichas Chaverim to talk through important yanim. We have many different people that come on, therapists, rabbonim, astrologers, you name it, we bring them on. And Hashem, tonight should be a little clarity. We should get a lot of chizuk from tonight's share. If anyone wants to join our WhatsApp chats, you can WhatsApp me at 732-314-1710. Again, that's 732-314-1710. You could also go to menachembernfeld.com and sign up for the flyers of the speakers and the replays and all the stuff that's going on in Coach Menachem land. If anybody that's watching this on YouTube, you can click on the like button. So every time it gets viewed, it gets more likes, and you'll click on the subscribe button. So every time Menachem uploads it on YouTube, you get notified of all the shiurim. And again, you can listen to it on Google Play and Spotify and all the other platforms that it gets posted. 5 Times Central, Chayil Kaufman from JCN, a Jewish Content Network, for always promoting it on all the Jewish digital platforms. All the people that are here every Sunday night at 9 p.m. We've been doing this. We're in the middle of our 6th year, right? That's correct. And at 9 p.m. with the Zoom ID, we have different topics. Please join us. And it should be amazing. Next week is going to be Sunday, July 27th. It's the Sunday before Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av starts on Shabbos. We're going to have Charlie Harari comes on. It seems like his meaning is to come on the Erev Tisha B'Av and to give us chizuk. So please join us. It's going to be a very powerful topic. I don't know the exact name of it, but he wants to talk about really making Hashem real, like really, really real. So Charlie's amazing. Please join us. Hopefully it'll be amazing. So we're going to turn it over now to Coach, to Arnoich Fried for the gematria of 237. And we're going to turn it over to him.
Shalom Levrach, everyone, to Zoom share number 237. Kosher Astrology. Discover Hashem's personal map for your life. Uncover your Tafkid struggles and superpowers. This brings to mind the famous memory of Tzaddik Melublin. The first one has to believe in Hashem, and then one has to believe in himself. As well as he believes in Hashem. As soon as he believes in these both beliefs, he will be able to uncover B'siyat Dishmai, his Tafkid and struggles and superpowers, which leads us up to tonight's gematria of 237. Ki yochel nuchal Allah. He will be able to achieve his goal.
Okay, we're going to turn it over to the host, Coach Menachem Bernfeld. All the people asked me today, what are we talking about tonight? Coach Menachem.
Oh, I guess we'll find out. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another Let's Get Real. Coach Menachem, Baruch Hashem, Siyata D'Shmai, a lot of Siyata D'Shmai, number 237. First, I want to say Yishkoyach V'Aranoyach for the Gematria. The Olam doesn't realize what goes into Gematria. It's sometimes back and forth and understanding what the topic is and getting the right Gematria is not easy. And I don't know if you do it every week. So I want to thank you for that.
Oh, yeah.
So tonight, astrology, I guess, it does trigger, for some people, like when like we say, we do every Sunday night a different program to bring in more chavret, more listeners. So we're probably having tonight people who are like, don't usually listen to Coach Menachem, but tonight they're here. Like what they want to understand, what's going on. I remember when I was young, there was somebody in my area talking about, I don't know if it was astrology, maybe a little bit, but more Chachmas Zapartzov, reading the hand and the forehead. I remember thinking to myself, I'd rather not know. Why would I want to know? And then it was validated with Tomim Tiyam Hashem Lekecha. So we use Hashem to be Tomim. And I think it's going to be part of our conversation tonight. The relationship with Hashem. What does Hashem want? Like Oshi said, next week we're going to talk about how to connect, to really, really connect. But tonight we're going to learn how to connect, to understand Hashem runs the world and what's going on. And I think it's an awareness for me. It brought up fear. okay, that's something to look at, but it doesn't have to be. And Rabbi Yitzchok, you'll help us out later on. But there was a story going around. This was about Reb Shlomo Yavo. He was a Maggid Shir. He was a big Daf Yomi Maggid Shir. And the story, I believe, was from the Tasher Rebbe. He had a hard time learning. And when he went to Tush, he was having a hard time till the mother called the Rebbe. In other words, and then the Rebbe decided he's going to go to this boy, and he went over to him and told him, "You're the boy who's going to finish Shas." Like, I don't even know how to learn. You're the boy who's going to finish Shas, and he said it many times. And before you knew it, this boy started learning, and started learning, and he was one of the biggest Maggid Shurim. He should be a Meretz Yoshe. He just passed away. But I was thinking, when we know something positive, right? So talking about the negative, the negative things we don't want to hear. But I don't want to know the negative stuff. I don't want to know, better if I don't know. Tom Tia. But let's think about something positive. If somebody could tell you, if a malach comes to you, reveal what's your tafkid, what's your mission, something that you were doubting. You always wanted to do something, and they come to you and say, "This is exactly who you are. This is what you got to do." And you're like, "Wow." And it gives you that push, gives you that clarity. If you think about it, it's like what we do know is how much it has to do with the beliefs about ourselves. So if you get that message and you had the doubt, maybe not, you had the belief, but the doubt comes in. I'm not sure. Maybe yeah, maybe not. It could be for many years. And you can think for yourself, what's that thing that you want to do? But there's some self-doubt. Every few months, you want to start, you stop. You want to start, you stop. What's going on? Imagine somebody has some clarity and they show you this is what you're good at. This is your strength, your tafkid, your mission. I think it would have that positive effect, like wow. And with that clarity, takes away the self-doubt. So that's one thing that I'm thinking about. So again, negative, maybe. I don't know. Positive, it could be Mardik. Then there's the next thing of understanding, seeing a bigger picture, understanding Hashem created the world and our connection to those things. I know there are people who know a little bit about it, but I think most of us know nothing. And here we are tonight. I think you're just going to open the concept, discuss it a little bit because, 2 hours, what could you do? Less than 2 hours. So I want to welcome Yitzchok, and I want to thank you for joining us. And Hashem, we're going to start the conversation. We should have a lot of siyata d'shmaya, and it should help us with our self-growth, becoming closer to Hashem and closer to our mission of Tafkid and Hashem. So shkoyach.
Menachem, beautiful opening. Okay, Yitzchok Pinkesz. Tonight's share is called Kosher Astrology. Discover Hashem's personal map for your life. Uncover your Tafkid struggles and superpowers. Yitzchok A. Pinkesz is a Torah observant astrologer who's been practicing astrology in accordance to the Torah for over 15 years. His fascination with personal transformation led to an extensive research in Jewish psychologically and astrology. He's thrilled to align with all three of his passions in a new book, Kosher Astrology, a guide to sensual wisdom. And he has a book. We'll send out the link to Hashem. If everybody wants to buy it, you can buy it. Okay, Rabbi Yitzchok, the floor is yours. Open it up. We're all standing here waiting.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Coach Menachem. Thank you so much, Usher. Thank you for inviting me. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be here. So yes, astrology is a very big topic, and in Yiddishkeit and Judaism, it's probably one of the most confusing topics that's out there. There's such mixed messages. Is it allowed? Is it not allowed? Right? So we know the famous Ein Mazel Yisrael. There's no mazel for the Jews, and the Jews, we're above the mazel, doesn't apply to us. Or Tamim Tiel Hashem Lekecha, you should be wholehearted with Hashem, seemingly implying you should stay away from things like astrology. So on the one side, we have these very negative sources that seemingly seem to forbid astrology. We're sometimes even comparing it as astrology avodah zarah, right? So there's these very negative sources. On the other hand, we know when it comes Purim time, we say Mazel Adar Dagim, right? And you see in all the shuls, Mishnechnes Adar, Marbim Simcha, you'll see a picture of two fish on the posters, which is Pisces, right? hey, what's going on here? It's Avodah Zarah. Why are we putting pictures of Pisces, of fish, of astrology in the shuls? Or if you have, in the Machzer, when we bench Tal and Geshem on Sikkos and Pesach, in the Machzer, in the benching, you'll see the 12 signs of the zodiac in the Machzer. Now, Art Scroll, moved it to the back of the Machzer, but it's still there. If you open up your Art Scroll Machzer in the back, you will see the 12 signs of the zodiac. What's going on here? I thought it was Usher. It's Avodah Zarah. Why is it in our davening? So we have a very confused, mixed message about what's going on. Is it kosher? We have a bunch of sources that seem to imply that it's not kosher, it's problematic, and a bunch of sources that seem to imply that it is kosher, that it's part of Yiddishkeit, it's part of the way Hashem runs the world. Very confusing. So that's one level from a Jewish perspective. Is it kosher or not kosher? And we're definitely going to get into it tonight. That's on one level. Then on another level, the question is, what is astrology? What does it do? What can it tell you? People think, if I'm a Leo, then I shouldn't date a Scorpio. Is that what astrology is? Or one of my favorites, or is it, the horoscope used to in the newspaper, you open newspaper, Pisces, Tuesday, you're going to get a raise, things like that. Like, is that what astrology is? One of my favorite, I saw an ad in the newspaper. Somebody says he's looking for a roommate. All may apply except for Capricorns. So is that how we should use astrology? So it's very confusing what it is. Does it predict the future? So we have these on both sides. It seems confusing if it's kosher. It seems confusing what it is. It's probably nonsense. It's all these ridiculous things that we know. So the best thing is, let's stay away from it. So generally you'll hear when people talk about astrology, they'll say, yeah, there's something to it, but it's best not to get involved with it because people didn't know what it is and what's involved. So that's what we're here to discuss tonight in astrology. It's so deep. Astrology has incredible amounts of information, far beyond just your zodiac sign. I'm a Gemini, I'm a Taurus, far beyond that. You have a birth chart. The moment that you're born, it tells you Hashem took all the energies of the universe, the solar system, exactly where Saturn was, where Uranus was, where Mars was, and all of that energy, and implanted it within you, within a baby. And we're here to take that unique energy of the solar system of that moment you're born and spend the next 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years of your life bringing that energy into the world. So that's what Hashem implanted within you and gave you incredible koichos and abilities and a tafkid and a purpose. And it has incredible amounts of information. And it can be so helpful to understand who you are, what your inner conflicts are, what are the areas you have to work through in order to bring out your gifts and your abilities. And sometimes people have no clue that they have incredible gifts within themselves. And so it's incredibly powerful to learn all kinds of things. I'm going to get into some of the details, what you can learn and what you can see. And that's just your birth chart. So that's your personality. There's also the timing of your life. So with astrology, you can see different points in your life when you're ready to grow. It's never going to predict the future. It's never going to tell you a specific thing. However, it can show you when you're ready to blossom, different parts of you. You have an inner conflict. This might be a time of incredible healing where you let go of something and a new part of you emerges. And we're going to get into all of that. So it's incredibly fascinating. It's incredibly helpful. And it's also incredibly confusing. So hopefully tonight we'll be able to remove all the confusion and really understand what kosher astrology is and what are the gifts that Hashem gave us with kosher astrology and how it can really, really enhance our lives.
Okay, Rabbi Yitzchok, shkoyach for that opening. We're going to get into it. We have a lot of questions, and everybody is really encouraged tonight to ask questions. And really, let's get a lot of clarity. Okay, let's start a poll. We're going to take 3 basic questions. Everybody answer to the best of your ability. Menachem, you hear me clear?
Yep.
Here we go. First question. Do you believe astrology has any influence on your life? 4 possible answers. Yes, I see patterns that feel real. B, I'm curious but not convinced. C, no, I don't think it fits with Torah. Or D, I believe in Mazel but not Western astrology. Whatever you think the answer means, that's what it means, and vote on it. Second question. Do you think using astrology tools, birth charts, timing, insights is a contradiction to Tamim Tiyel Hashem Lakecha, to being pure with Hashem, Tamim Tiyah Im Hashem? First answer, yes, we should rely only on Hashem. Number 2, no, it depends on how it's used. Number 3, no, only for timing, insight, not decision making. Or D, I would love to learn more before deciding. Third question, would you want to explore your personal mazel birth chart if it was taught through a Torah and a Kabbalah source? Would you want to get your mazel read? Number 1, yes, it sounds fascinating. Number 2, maybe, if it's clearly with an halacha. 3, no, it's really not for me. 4, I don't think it's appropriate. Okay, those are the 3 questions. Everybody answer to the best of your ability, your opinion. And then we will share everybody's opinion. And then we will jump straight into the questions. Tonight, please feel free to ask any question. I'm sure Yitzchok doing this 15 years, he's got asked every question possible. And I know just from advertising this, how many questions I got. And I'm sure everybody has something to ask. So please text me. Remember, live questions go first. Yitzchok, you have things on your computer that you want to share? Yeah? I just want to make sure that we're going to do the share thing. Yes or no?
Yeah, as the questions come up,
Yeah,
'cause
yeah, okay.
there's
Yeah, but
so
you have
many
it ready.
different things. Yes, let
Okay,
me
okay.
just, yes.
Okay, we're going to end the poll in 3 seconds. We're going to share with everybody. And again, anybody wants to ask live, please text us your partners here. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. First question, do you believe astrology has any influence in your life? 39% of people, most people say yes, I've seen patterns that feel real. The second answer is I'm curious but not convinced. Only 4% of people say no, I don't think it fits with Torah. 26% of people, I believe in Mazel, but not Western astrology. It's like, you want to say anything on this?
So yes, there's a lot to say on this. So actually, in my book, I talk about this three grouping of people. The people who believe in astrology, right? And so we can have the conversation. Then there are people who are skeptical but open to hearing. And I think that's a good stage, unless you're familiar with astrology. I think it's a good stage to be skeptical but open. And then there's the third category of what I call deniers, that they don't believe in astrology. Nothing what you're going to say is going to make any difference to them. So there's really no conversation. So the real conversation is with the first 2 groups, the ones who believe in astrology and the ones who are open to hearing, but somewhat skeptical. Because here's the thing, astrology makes incredible claims. And so you should be skeptical until you see it for yourself. And as we're going to discuss tonight, we're going to discover some of that stuff.
Second question. Do you think using astrology, birth charts, timing, insights is a kind of Hashem to be pure with Hashem? 40% yes, we should rely only on Hashem. The number 1 answer, no. It depends how it's used. 40% of people. 8% only for timing, insight, not decision making. And 38% of people, I'd love to learn more before deciding.
So this is one of the big confusing things, somehow separating Hashem from astrology. Like, don't rely on astrology, rely on Hashem. The Ramchal says that Hashem directs the world through astrology. So it's not a conflict at all. It's astrology directed by Hashem. That's what I believe in.
Third question, would you want to explore your personal mazel birth chart if taught you through a Torah Kabbalah source? 73% of people here sign up already. Everybody give Mr. Yitzchok your credit card. He will have a personal session with you. I'm joking. But 73% of people would be very interesting. Sounds fascinating. 24% maybe if it's clearly within halacha. 2% no, it's not for me. 1% I really don't think appropriate. So basically anybody here tonight is not here to disagree with this whole thing. I guess they just didn't come. All those thousands of people are just not here tonight. These are just the few people that are into it. Okay, listen, we're all interested. We're all into it. We have a lot of questions. 1 second. Okay, so again, anybody wants to ask live, please text me and we'll go live. We have questions came in. Let's start with the first live question. Here we go. Always with Ben. Ben always breaks it open. Let's go, Ben.
Hi, Dr. Pinkesz. I mean, Rabbi Pinkesz. Maybe it could be a doctor as an astrologist.
Sultan. His name is Sultan Pinkesz.
Okay. I just have a curious question in terms of learning these type of things. Do we need, if someone who really wants to learn more about this thing, I'm actually, I don't want to say I believe or I don't believe. I was taught this as a kid by my parents all the time, and it's not the Jewish way. It's always through the Western, the March 21st to April, whatever, those dates. That's why I always, and the patterns I always see usually just happen to, align with what I heard. They're not always accurate, but it just happens to be. But I'm curious if someone wants to learn these stuff in a Torah way. Is it something that needs extreme caution, as if you're learning Kabbalah? Or if someone just could open it up like a sugya, learning Hilchos Shabbos, or some sort of hashkafa, you always need a rebbe for anything. But is this something that needs extreme caution, so you shouldn't end up in some Hulu zone, Or it's something that's just, Torah is Torah, and you can just rely you're safe as long as you get everything from the Svarim.
Thank you, Ben. That's an excellent question. And it's kind of like the question, is astrology kosher? When people ask me, is astrology kosher? I like to ask, are animals kosher? It's not a yes or no question, right? There are animals that are 100% treif, and that chazer and shellfish you're not allowed to eat. And then there are animals that are 100% kosher, right? Now, so we need to know the difference. We need to be educated to understand the difference between kosher and not kosher animals, and the same thing with kosher and not kosher astrology. So I would say, start with this. This is my book, Kosher Astrology, A Jewish Guide to Celestial Wisdom. It's a 500-page book that covers everything about astrology, understanding the first third of the book covers everything in Judaism, what makes something kosher, what makes it not kosher, it brings down all the sources. The second part of the book goes into astrology. What is it? What can it do for you? How can it change your life? And I bring on different stories and I show you all about it. You can learn a lot about the core of astrology. Again, not the simplistic astrology, the deep astrology. And also I created 75 pages of full color illustrations, so it should be easily understandable and explainable. And then the last quarter of the book is one of my favorite parts. It shows astrology in the Torah, how deeply tied astrology is into the Torah. It's part of our Masorah. It's part of our Jewish heritage. And yes, we're going to get into it. People are going to be shocked. Literally, when I did my research, I kept on falling out of my chair. I couldn't believe every other sefer talks about astrology. It's deeply part of most Rishonim and Achronim believed very strongly in astrology. In almost every other sefer, it talks about astrology. We'll get into some of that also. So yes, so the answer is, it's just like everything else. We're Jews, we're supposed to be educated about it. And I would say start with my book, because I really go through all the different sources. I bring, you have in the footnotes the original Hebrew, so you can see the original sources. And I also translate it to English. So I would say start with that.
Okay, I just have two more small questions. Just out of curiosity, did Gedolim Retzach with this ever? Or like did any of our recent Gedolim have anything to do with astrology? Just curious. And does astrology just mean, month born, whatever, or having a telescope has something to do with that? I know Rabbi Gamliel said he had like the most of all does having a telescope have anything to do with this, or not necessarily? Seeing the moon, whatever.
So first of all, Rav David Cohen Shlita, he's the Posek Hadar, he's 92 years old. He's the one who gives us skama on my book. And he says, by reading my book, it's Gili Kavod Shemayim. It reveals the heavenly glory. So for me, that's good enough. Rav David Cohen Shlita paskins and says that. That's number one. Number two, in terms of a telescope, you're talking about astronomy. So in order to do astrology, yes, astronomy is part of astrology. Astronomy is just the movement of the planets, knowing that Saturn takes 29 and a half years to orbit the sun, like those factual information. So that's an important part of astrology. Yes, you have to combine both of them, but yes, astrology is way more deeper than you think, than on the surface, than just your sun sign. Then we're going to get into some examples of the incredible amounts of information it can tell you. Sure.
There's a lot of live questions, so we need to really jump into a lot of questions. Chaisol will go first, but I want to just jump into the one basic question. First question is it truly kosher to explore astrology, or does it conflict with Torah and halacha? What are the boundaries between wisdom and superstition in Yiddishkeit? Like, we just want to know the basic dharm before we get into the questions. Some basic.
Okay, let's start.
And I want to clarify again, because he brought up another topic, so I want to make sure we're all on the same page. We're not talking about palm reading. We're not talking about chachmas apartzev. We're talking about a specific time when somebody was born, the time, the place, and what else is there? Time, place.
The time, your date of birth, the time of birth, and the city state of birth. That's it. Those three pieces of information.
That's what we're talking about tonight. That is your Mazel.
Only
That is
astrology, nothing
your-
else. I'm not
that's
speaking
your
to
thing,
anything
okay.
else, only purest
Nothing
kosher
else.
astrology.
Okay, now
Yes,
explain
yes.
where it gets
Okay,
into
so let's start.
like again, like you said, like because I'm born in this month, that means I shouldn't marry this person. Like, where does it?
No, that's I was making a joke. That is no, don't take that at all. That's not at all how it works. Okay, first let's understand how deeply tied it is in the Torah. We don't have to look far. You start in Bereshis, in the 14th pasuk in Bereshis, in the first chapter. It says that Hashem created the sun and the moon. And he says one of the reasons Hashem created it, "V'hoya la'osos," they should be for signs. It's explicit in the Torah. Rashi there explicitly says what does signs mean? Astrological signs. The Ralbag also says it's talking about astrological signs. So right off the bat, the 14th pasuk in the Torah, it says Hashem created astrology. That's number one. Number two, the question becomes, why did Hashem create astrology? So then we have Bereshis Rabbah, which says that every blade of grass has an astrological energy urging it to grow. That is the purpose of astrology, that Hashem loves us and wants us to grow. So the energy of astrology is here to help us grow. Now, if you would say that if it's part of the Torah and it's part of what Hashem wants, then why don't we have famous people, Rabbanim, who are astrologers? You know, you would think that there would be many. Well, guess what? There are. Let's start. You have a Gemara in Bava Basra 16b that it says Avram Avinu was a professional astrologer. What? Yes, it says in the Torah of Hashem Bayrachas Avram Bakol, that Hashem blessed Avram with everything. So the Gemara asks, Blaise Amadai asks, well, my Bakol, what does it mean that Hashem blessed him with everything? What is this everything? So the Gemara says, it's Tagninis Gedoyla Hoysa Beliboy Shel Avram, that the great wisdom of astrology was in the heart of Avram, that all the kings from the east and west would come to ask him astrological advice. This is Avram Avinu, the father of the Jewish nation. He was a professional astrologer, yes. And Akedas Yitzchok, Yitzchok A, he lived in the 1400s. He wrote a sefer, a magnificent sefer, Akedas Yitzchok, and in it he explains that Avram Avinu used astrology to teach the world about Hashem. Because everybody thought that the planets were avodah zarah, that they were false gods. Idol worship. He said, no, Hashem is the one who directs the planets, and that's why there's only one Hashem, and that's the method that he used to teach the world about Hashem, through astrology. How wild is that? And then let's go to the next thing. Gemara Shabbos 75a, it says, mitzvah lachshov tekivas mazalas, that it's a mitzvah to know astrology. Now the Rambam, we're going to get into Maimonides, says it's talking about astronomy. But everybody else says it's talking about astrology. Rashi there Beferish says it's talking about astrology. Rambachia says it's talking about astrology. The Kedis Yitzchak says it's talking about astrology. The Ran has a whole piece on that it's talking about astrology, that it's a mitzvah to know astrology. And if you don't, the Gemara brings very strong language. You're not recognizing the gifts and wonders of Hashem if you don't practice astrology. So yes, it's deeply part of the Torah, it's deeply tied into our Messiah, and it's deeply connected throughout the generations. So it wasn't just Avram Avinu. The Ibn Ezra was a professional astrologer who wrote 14 books on astrology. The Ralbag was a professional astrologer. Reb Shapsi Danilo was a professional astrologer. Rashi quotes from Reb Shapsi Danilo. There were many professional astrologers and many who strongly encouraged. The Vilna Gaon says, raise your child according to his way, according to his astrological way. Look at his chart and raise him according to... That's what the Vilna Gaon says. Yes, this is so deeply tied into Yiddishkeit. The Ramchal says that Hashem directs the world through astrology. Every major sefer will talk, every other sefer will talk about how astrology is part of the way Hashem directs the world. It's here for your growth, it's here to help you, and it's all part of the Torah. Yes.
Did we lose it? Did we lose it somewhere? Or what's the reason why we're so confused? And
so the reason why it's so confused is the whole thing that comes in with the not kosher part of astrology. So you have to understand, most of the world, for most of history, they believed in what's called astral magic. They literally believed that the planets were avodah zarah. So this was a big problem. This was the general population believed this. In fact, the Gemara generally, the general way that the Gemara refers to the nations is oivdei kachavim. literally worshiper of planets. That's what Ovdei Chava means, So this was the standard way of how people did astrology. And in fact, the Rambam, Maimonides, goes into great detail explaining this, what astral magic is, that they would do all kinds of spells, take blood and hair from animals at certain astrological times in order to serve and worship the planets. And then the planets would then do favors for them or harm their enemies. Like they would build a statue, and they believed if you buried the statue underneath your competitor's store, he would go out of business. So that's called astral magic. It was avodah zarah combined with sorcery. So of course that's usher, and of course the Torah speaks very strongly against that. So that's one of the two versions that are usher. And literally any place in the Torah where you see a negative statement about astrology, it's either talking about astral magic, which is avodah zarah combined with sorcery, or another part of it, it's called astromancy. Astromancy is the fatalistic, deterministic version of astrology. So the Gemara in Shabbos 156 talks about this. If somebody's born under Mars, people really believe, this is the general public, everybody believed this, that if you're born under Mars, you have no choice but to be a murdering bandit. And the Gemara was going very counterculture. It was so brilliant at that time because nobody knew this. And the Gemara says, no, if you're born under Mars, yes, it has this assertive, aggressive type of energy, but you don't have to be a murdering bandit. You can be a shochet, you can be a moel, you can be a butcher, you can be a circumciser, or you can be a bloodletter. You can do other things. You can channel your energy. It's not fatalistic. That's what Ein Mazel Yisrael means. People don't understand. It doesn't mean astrology doesn't apply to the Jewish people. It means fatalistic, deterministic astrology doesn't apply. We're not robots. We're not born with an energy which gives us no choice about life. It doesn't remove our free will. So the whole Gemara in Shabbos 156, which talks about Ein Mazel Yisrael, is completely misunderstood. It's very clear from there that absolutely it believes that astrology is true. The fatalistic, deterministic version is not true. And so because there were these two versions that most of the world believed, it created confusion. And it created, we didn't quite understand all the different sources that are positive and negative. So in my book, I bring down all the sources and I make very clear. The negative sources are talking about astral magic and astromancy, idol worship and sorcery, and the fatalistic, deterministic version. And all the positive sources, the mitzvah to do it, what Hashem created, what the Ramchal is talking about, what the Vilna Gaon is talking about, all of that is talking about kosher astrology, which is a mitzvah to do. And that's the big difference.
Okay, let's go to the first live question. Chai Sarian.
Hi. By the way, what is the title of your book? I mean, I think you should get it for a library.
Kosher Astrology, a Jewish guide to celestial wisdom.
Thank you. I just had a question. Jewish astrology, does it go by the Jewish calendar is lunar, and for some reason I personally relate more to the secular zodiac system, which is solar. I mean, in fact, I was in the secular, I was born as Scorpio, but according to the Jewish, because it was a leap year, I was born. They had that problem with the two Adars. So I was born earlier in the year when I was, Sagittarius. I've straddled, but how do they deal, or do you at all discuss the problem of that discrepancy between the solar and the lunar calendars?
Absolutely. That's an excellent, excellent question. Yes, it's so confusing. According to the Jewish month, I'm this energy, and according to the English date, if you're born on a certain 2 or 3 days, there's that thing. So it's very confusing. Yes. So here's the thing with kosher astrology. It doesn't go according to the Hebrew date. It doesn't go according to the English date. It doesn't go according to dates. What it goes according to, the moment you're born. I don't care what you call that day. If you call it Adar, if you call it January, it doesn't matter what you're calling that date. The moment that you're born, we take a snapshot of the solar system. That's it. That's your astrology. So if that date was Adar, then that's what that is. If it was January, so it doesn't move according to that. It's your birth chart. Every person has a birth chart, which is a snapshot of the heavens the moment that you're born.
So that's secular.
So it's not secular, it's whatever you plug in. So if you look at that moment, whether you use the Hebrew dates or the English date, look up at that moment in time when you were born, where was Saturn? Where was Mars? Where was the sun? What was connecting with what? So it's not about your sun sign that you're in Gemini or you're a Pisces. It's the whole birth chart. It has to do with the moment you're born. It's not associated with dates. Now, in Judaism, every month also has an astrological energy that's separate from your personal birth chart. There's two different systems. It is a little confusing, yes.
A birth certificate comes in handy, I guess.
Yeah. So here's the thing. The law is in the United States, every birth certificate, they have to record your time of birth.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes people get replacements. If you got it in the last 15, 20 years, it might not have your time of birth. But today, if you order it again, they do put your time of birth on it. So you can get it for $15. You go to Vital Check and you can order a copy of your birth certificate.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
A lot of people are asking, I just want to know, a lot of people are asking if I give him my date, my type of can I get a reading of my mazel? I'm just telling you, a lot of people texting me.
So my website is kosherastro.com. Yes, I do chart readings, and it can be absolutely life-changing, literally life-changing.
Give an example. What would be life-changing? Give an example.
So my favorite thing when I do a chart reading, so I go through people's struggles, I go through people's gifts and their superpowers, and there can be so many things that are blocking or keep people stuck. My favorite thing is a few weeks after I do a chart reading for somebody, they call me up and they say, I quit my job. I'm finally following my dreams. And that's what I want to encourage everybody to. Yes, I want everybody to quit their job. Yes.
Really?
Yes, you have to be doing your tafkid, your purpose, your gifts.
Wow.
It hurts me so much when I look at a chart and I see you have incredible gifts and abilities. And by the way, 90% of the time, when I talk to you about it, you'll know that you have it, but you'll think, oh, yeah, I'll give you an example. I was speaking to somebody who's an incredible artist. She's a painter. She lives in Israel. And she stopped doing painting for 2 years. She stopped painting. And I looked at her chart and I saw she had Venus connected to Neptune, which is incredible gifts and abilities and skill sets. You're able to tune in to something higher and to tap into the collective. And that's an incredible, the greatest artists have that. And I was telling her, what are you doing? How are you not? And this gave her the push to start painting after 2 years. And like she got that message from me. She lived in Israel, and actually, so sadly, she had a ballistic missile hit next to her apartment. And you know how you see like the whole wall, the whole front of the apartment and it's full of debris? None of her art stuff was touched. Her paintings are on the wall. She has a beautiful white piano. Everything was destroyed, but all of her arts. I said, listen to your messages. Hashem sends us messages all the time. You called up an astrologer and he yelled at you. You got to be an artist. You got to do your gifts. A few weeks later, you got a ballistic missile from Iran sent you the same message. You got to do your gifts. And that's why I want everybody to be doing their... Hashem gave you a gift. It's like I tell people, you have a Ferrari sitting in your garage, letting it rust there, and you're driving around in your old jalopy. What are you doing? Use your gift, use your talents. And then I go into why sometimes people don't believe if they have Saturn, they might have negative ideas and negative thoughts. And I work through how you can work through the inner conflicts that you have, some of the negative thinking that you might have. It's very specific. I can show it to you in your birth chart. And also, you got to be patient. There's also a time process. So I can also show you the timing of when you're meant to flourish, when it's meant, if you do the work, because it's not automatic. There's free will. You have to do your part. So as long as you're doing your part, if you're doing your healing, because we have to be firing on all cylinders. We have to believe in ourselves and we have to heal any wounding that we have, and we have to work through our inner conflicts. But once we do that, we're capable of incredible, incredible things. So yes, I want everybody to quit. Unless you're loving your job, this is my criteria. It's got to be 4 things. You got to love what you do. You got to be good at what you do. It got to be something that the world needs and something you can make money at. So if you're doing something all 4, then you're doing your tafkid, your passion. If you don't have all 4, then yes, I want you to discover who you are, your incredible gifts, quit your job, and go forward in the world.
Well, okay, but you must have your time of birth to do a proper thing,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you must have it on your birth certificate.
Yes.
Okay, let's go to the next live question. Hi.
Hi. Thank you for taking my question. This is a great subject. If a woman is being induced could it affect the astronomy of the child, the astrology, sorry? And if so, how is there heter for it?
Okay, so that's an excellent question. Here's the beauty. Hashem runs the world. You can't outsmart Hashem. So if Hashem wants a baby to be born earlier, they're going to be induced earlier. Hashem doesn't want that, it won't happen. You can't. And also, what do you think you're doing? Why do you think you know that if he's born, a half a day earlier, that it's somehow better? You don't know what the ultimate purpose of something. Any chart, you can see that a chart may have some difficulty, some struggles. But in order to be a great person, you have to overcome those struggles. You don't want to remove the difficulty because then you want to be, the question is, so that's why I look at charts and I say, wow, sometimes people, chose to become, Hashem chose you to become an Olympic athlete. You have to do some hard work. You have to do some struggling, but then you're capable of doing something that very few people in the world can do because you did the hard work. So for us you can't even make that cheshbon, what's better to earlier or not. Hashem runs the world. Timing of Hashem, the timing is always up to Hashem. So you don't have to worry about that.
Thank you. Can I ask one more quick question?
Sure.
Can you say which Gedolim are against astrology?
So far, I've yet to see anybody who reads my book. And Baruch Hashem, I sold out my first run, so a few thousand copies are out there. Not one person said anything. Once you read it, the only objections I get is the people who haven't read the book, who know next to very little about astrology. They might know Tam Til Hashem Lekecha, and they don't know what that means or what it implies, and they're going with something that they heard years ago, but not actual knowledge that they look into. It's blatant. If you read the book, it's absolutely blatant that it's part of Torah, it's part of the way Hashem directs the world, and that it's a mitzvah to do. It's absolutely blatant. Read the book.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, let's go to the next question. Hi, how are you?
Hi, thank you to the organizers and the speakers. I haven't read your book, I'm sorry, but I'd like to know how it aligns with typical Western natal charts that are available online or in tabular form in the books, dealing with progress charts, relationships with the planets, whether they're squared, trine, in opposition, et cetera, and the so-called wisdom about they always do love matches. If your Venus is in Aries and your Sun is in Leo, your Mars is in whatever, if it's a good arrangement or what the energies are. And so how does kosher astrology line up with what is available commonly?
Okay. Thank you. That's an excellent question. And you brought up a couple of different things. So let's really break that down. Okay. So first of all, the big difference between Jewish and not Jewish astrology is about philosophy. Okay. The Ibn Ezra, who wrote 14 books on astrology, and many others make very clear in the actual facts. For example, Saturn represents structure, discipline, restrictions, authority. There's no difference between Jewish and not Jewish astrology in the meaning of the planets. Where there's a huge difference is in the philosophy. And a big issue is astromancy, the fatalistic, deterministic version. So what you just described, you actually described astromancy. So you use some of it, the squares, the trines, progressions, I use all of that. That's all kosher. However, if you say your sun is in Leo and your moon is in Aries, that means it's not a good match. That's fatalistic astrology. So you have to be very, very careful. And what happens today, what I see though, there's a lot of astrologers out there. A lot of them, they'll talk about, oh, if Saturn is in your 7th house, that's a bad placement. You're going to have difficulty in marriage. That's fatalistic astrology. That's not kosher. So it's not the technique. The technique is the same. It's the philosophical approach, and that's why I strongly encourage reading my book, because it makes very clear what's allowed and what's not allowed. It's kind of like if you go to a supermarket, you go to Target, you go to a not kosher supermarket, you have to have some knowledge to understand what's kosher and what's not kosher and what's allowed and what's not allowed. Start with my book, Kosher Astrology, and it really can help you to understand how to pick. But yes, there is a lot of knowledge, the general knowledge, as long as you're aware of the fatalistic version, because they mix it in all the time. I hear it all the time. Oh, Mars in Cancer, that's a bad placement. There's no bad placement. Yes, there can be certain things that are a struggle, but that struggle is an incredible gift. It's even a stronger thing than somebody that didn't have to struggle with it. So everything is the attitude, and that's crucial to understand between kosher astrology and general Western astrology. You have to be very careful about that.
So I understand what you're saying is that it can guide us and show us where there are potential strengths or potential difficulties, and we can choose to find ways to enhance what we see as good, and maybe skirt around some potential difficulties. So would that be fair?
Yes. Well, I'll give you an example. Okay. So many years ago, about 8, 9, 10 years ago, I did a chart reading for a woman. She was single in her 40s. And she told me that somebody she had dated for a while had contacted her again and wants to go out with her again. And she's like, no, I'm not going through that. It didn't work out. I had problems with him. And I said, let me look at his birth chart information. And there is a couples chart where you can compare two people's charts. Now, it's not going to tell you if you should or shouldn't marry somebody, but it can show you the areas where you have flowing connections and the areas where you have some struggling connections that may be difficult. So I showed her a particular area where there's a difficult aspect. And I said, that's not going to change. You have to understand this is how he is, and learn. You have to understand, you have to see whether or not you can learn to accept this part of him. It's not going to change. It's going to be a little bit different from what you're used to. However, you have some other connection in the chart that's really nice and really flowing. And I said, so I would never tell somebody you should or shouldn't marry somebody. But I said, you can give them a chance with the awareness of what the area of struggle, and see if you can learn to live with it. She dated him for 3 months. They got engaged. They had a child. They're now married for 8 to 10 years now, Baruch Hashem. So again, it's not going to tell you yes or no, but it gives you data, it gives you information. It can show you where the area of conflict, so you can be aware and talk about it.
Yeah, a lot of us who were born in the late 50s were afflicted supposedly with this Uranus, Neptune, and now we're out of it. It's the age of Aquarius, whatever. Thank you so much.
Sure, it's my pleasure. But yes, that's another example. Yes, there's certain generations that are born when Uranus conjuncted Pluto, and that's when the whole world went crazy. It's an incredible, powerful gift in your chart. It's a powerhouse once you learn how to harness it. So if you go to Western astrology and it says it's a negative, that's not kosher.
You mentioned that the person has to do the work. So, once you're talking about doing the work, first, if you can tell us what that means. And if you're talking about healing, then it could be a long process. So how do we do that?
So I'll give you an example. Okay, so when I look at a birth chart, there's Saturn. Let's say, for example, there's 5. You know what? Let me share. Let's see if I can share the screen. Let me show you. Let me break that down 1 second. Okay, can you see the warrior on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me explain how it works. So like with astrology, there's many planets. So I'm going to talk about the 5 personal planets. That's the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. These are 5 personal planets. What does that mean, personal planets? These are the 5 basic ways that human beings function. So let's get into it. Let's start at the bottom of the chart, which says the sun. This is in your birth chart. Everybody has these planets in their birth chart. So this is personal to you, okay? So the sun represents your core self, your essence, your identity. Who are you here to be? What is your Tafkid? What is your purpose? So in this case, his identity is a knight or a warrior. That's how he sees himself. That's how, if somebody asks, oh, who's that guy, Chaim Yankel? He's that knight or warrior. That's the overall person. So the sun represents your overall self. Then the other 4 planets, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, represent a part of you. So Mars, for example, in red, represents your instinct, your action, your energy, your drive. So in this case, it represents your sword, the hands and the legs, right? Because being a great swordsman has nothing to do with the intellect. It has to do with your instincts, right? Your hand-to-eye coordination, your leg movement. So that belongs to the area of Mars. So if you have a good Mars in your chart, you'll be a great swordsman. So Mars is doing its part to serve the purpose of the sun of the identity. So we each have these different sides of ourselves. So that's Mars. On the other side, we have in yellow, we have Moon. And the moon represents your emotions, your feelings, your needs, your likes and dislikes. It's the heart. So in this case, the question would be, is he a brave warrior? Is he a courageous warrior? Because if he's full of fear, I don't care how great of a swordsman he is, he's not going to make a very good warrior. So the moon has to do its part. The emotions has to play its role in serving the purpose of the sun. And then we have the brain, Mercury and Venus, which is the left brain and right brain. So Mercury in purple is the intellect, the thinking. So in this case, the question would be, let's say he's a great strategist. He knows how to set up the troops, how to set up an ambush. So he's using the intellect to serve the purpose of the sun. And the same thing, it's also Mercury is also communication. So it's also the mouth. So let's say he knows how to negotiate treaties or talk himself out of trouble. So again, Mercury is a very particular part, this thinking and communication, that by doing its purpose, its role, it's able to serve the overall identity of the sun. And then finally, we have Venus, which is the right brain, which is the intuitive and creative side. So this also can involve our artistic sensibility, but mostly it's what are we passionate about? What are our values in life? And also, how do we value ourselves? So in this case, the question would be, what is this warrior willing to fight for? What is he willing to die for? So if he's a soldier in the IDF, he's willing to fight to defend his brothers and sisters in Klal Yisrael. So that's also going to play a big role in how great of a warrior he is. So do you see how the overall sun, the identity, has Mars, Moon, Mercury, Venus, each of these different sides of ourselves that have to contribute to make us into our greatest selves and our highest selves. Now, in astrology, when I look at a birth chart, I can see that there might be a conflict, let's say, between the moon and Mercury, between the emotions and the thinking. And so we might suppress our emotions. We might not give it any value because, oh, I need to go to work. I need to take care of, like, my intellect tells me that's the right thing to do. But my emotions, I want to go to the pizza store. I want to relax. I want to take care of myself. If we suppress our emotions, it can create all kinds of shadow sides. It doesn't mean you have to give in everything your emotions want, but give it a day, say, okay, I can't do it right now, but Sunday I'll take you to the pizza store. So that's one side of us. We can see this conflicting energies and we can learn to get by, but unless we're fully functioning on all 5 cylinders, we're not going to be at higher selves. And the same thing we might have, like, for example, if we have Saturn connected to Venus. So Venus is our self-value, how we value ourselves. And Saturn is a taskmaster. It wants you to work hard. It wants you to accomplish. So Saturn can be very tough on us. And Saturn, so somebody who has Saturn Venus is somebody who feels that in order to be valuable, they have to work hard. They have to please people. They have to accomplish a lot.
I just want to pause you for a second.
Sure.
And a person is born at that particular moment and place, certain things are, Venus will be closer, Mercury will be further. That's
Yes, when a person is born in your birth chart, you're going to have these 5 planets, but everybody has them in a different place. Some connect with each other, some connect with other planets, some might be in different zodiac signs. You know, you're born, you think you're a Gemini, that's your sun. Your moon might be in Aries, so you might be a Gemini sun, but your emotions might be in Aries. Your Mercury, communication and thinking, might be in Cancer. Each one can be in a different sign. It's way more complex than just the sun sign that you think that you were born with. And everybody's born with all 5. And each one has a unique connection, a unique abilities. So that's why some people have incredible gifts connected to their Mercury. Communication and thinking. These are people who are scholars, who love to read, who love to write. They probably have some big planets connected to that part of them in the chart. And you can see it blatantly. You can see it openly. So yes. So one of the areas of there can be problems. So either it can be a conflict between 2, or let's say, if the planet Saturn, right, which is again discipline and restrictions, is connected to Venus, to your self-value, you have to, the message that you get, the internal message that you're getting is that you have to work hard to achieve, to be valuable. You know, I did a chart reading for somebody. He told me that somebody who had Saturn, Venus.
Can we see President Trump's chart reading?
We'll get to that in a second. Yes, I have that also. We'll get to that in a second. So he's telling me that he finished Shas 7 times. And I told him, wow, that's amazing. But understand, that's not why you're valuable. You know, Saturn is telling you you have to achieve, you have to earn, you have to do. And it's fantastic to finish Shas 7 times. But your value comes because you're a chaylik elokay mimal, because you have a godly essence. You know, a 2-month-old baby has done nothing and is an incredible, valuable human being. So it's not about, there's nothing wrong with working hard and doing that. But don't attach it to your self-value. Your self-value has to come from because you're a part of Hashem. And also, I tell this to everybody, you have to believe Bishvili Nivra Olam, that you're so valuable, your gifts are so amazing, what you're here to do is so powerful that it's worthwhile, that Hashem created the whole world just for you. The Gemara says this. Every person has to believe this. So this is crucial to believe. And sometimes the voice of Saturn says, because it wants you to work so hard, it can be very tough, and it can tell you you're not good enough. You're not going to accomplish. Why? It wants you to work hard, but many times this can be debilitating. This can be a reason why we don't go ahead and do what we need to do. And I bring people the example of Moshe Rabbeinu. When Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, I want you to lead the Jews out of Mitzrayim, you know what Moshe Rabbeinu responded? He said, Mi unechi, who am I? Like, this is Moshe Rabbeinu, the greatest leader that we ever had, Mi unechi. And the next thing he said, pick a Haran, pick somebody else. He's great, he can do it, I can't do it. And the third thing that Moshe Rabbeinu says, Ani aral sefasoyim, I have a speech impediment, I can't be the spokesman for the Jewish people. This is Moshe Rabbeinu saying this. And I show people who have Saturn connected to their Venus that those doubts are very normal, that even Moshe Rabbeinu had them. However, it can turn into Yetzer Hara. I say, call it out, say this doubt, that's my Saturn talking. I'm not going to listen to it. I can achieve, I can accomplish whatever I need to do. So it's very helpful to see where the blocks are in your chart. Where are the struggles? Where are the things in order to release your gifts and your abilities?
So what I'm hearing from you is the concepts that you're saying, B'shvili Nivra Olam, or Chelek Elokay Mimal, all of this is before you start looking at anything. A person has to have a ground foundation of understanding that he's a Chelek Elokay Mimal, and you feel good about yourself, not because you finish Shas. What would you do if you wouldn't finish Shas? What would you think about yourself? So this, but now you're saying also that whatever we see on the chart, we're going to be calling out. We're not going to follow. We'll maybe understand, but we're going to be calling them out. That's what I'm hearing from you. Like,
what do you mean when you say calling them out? What do you mean?
It's not like I have this awareness and this is how it works. You have the awareness, and now you can decide, how am I going to fight it, or how am I going to work with it?
Right. So I would say that's the thing. You're right. Everybody should start with this basic foundation. I wish that's what the first thing they taught in yeshiva, start with this basic foundation. That's true. However, some people struggle much more with this than others. And that I can see in the chart. If they have Saturn, it's like an inner critic, an inner voice always telling them that they're not good enough. You know, like, so that I can see in the chart, and we can call it out and we can say, look, this is what's been keeping you back. This inner voice, it's not a truth, because the inner voice in our head sounds like a truth. We believe it. And I say, call it out. Once it's making it conscious. And that's so helpful. So we really can get it. And it gets very complicated. There's a lot of moving parts with people, and the chart really tells you everything. It really goes through it. So it's very, very powerful. Okay, you want to see President Trump?
Before we do that, let's just jump up to one. There's a live question live, but before that live question, someone just wants to make a comment, if that's okay.
Sure.
Somebody who read your book, Samsung.
Yeah, so let me stop the share. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't put my name. It's Fatima. I do have your book.
Oh, awesome! Thank you.
I have two. I actually have 2 copies. I bought it, and my husband bought it, not knowing that I already bought it. So I have 2 copies here, but I just want to say thank you. I actually I converted from Christianity, and in Christianity, I was told everything was the devil. Coming into Judaism, it has taken me out of that state of mind. So of course, I ran into you, and I started going through everybody's birth certificates. I'm like, I have to find out their birth chart. So in doing that, I have learned really how to nurture my children. I'm like, okay, I thought this one was the mystical one. I thought this was the spiritual one. It's actually this one. And I've also learned really how to connect to my husband, how to show him love, how he receives love. It's been a big transformation within just the last couple of months, how our relationship has been. So I just want to thank you so much for that, for giving me that insight. and honestly, I've learned so much about myself. I've done so much shadow work. I've learned things about myself that I just didn't know how to put into words. And now I'm like, okay, I'm a Leo sun, but I'm a Cancer moon, so there's all these emotions, and my Pluto's in Scorpio, and Saturn is in Scorpio, and so there's this darkness, and so I now pay attention. Of course, I keep Rosh Kodesh, but now I really pay attention to what's going on and how will it affect me personally. So just thank you so much for all that insight.
All of that
Wow.
you got from the book, all of that you were able to pick up and learn from the book.
Yeah, so once you do go into your birth charts and really understand, first, like it starts with it's kosher.
Well, I want to
It's
clarify
a lot
something.
of like it's
One
kosher.
second, pause. Birth chart means you could take all this information, your place of birth, your time, and what's the other one? Place, time,
City,
and
state.
City.
You can
So
put in you can put in ChatGPT. It will give you a birth chart.
No,
Yes.
do not do that. I'm
Right.
going to warn you not to go to ChatGPT and do that. It will give you the wrong information. Go into online, look for a birth chart website, put in your birth chart, screenshot the actual chart, screenshot everything it says underneath, and then put it into ChatGPT. And then it will break down what it means. But if you go straight to ChatGPT, it will tell you, it will just switch things around, and it will not remember what it is. For some reason, it will not remember your birth chart, even if you pay for the higher subscription. You have to
go
constantly
to a
tell it.
website that does you
Yes,
go
you
to a
can
website
find
that does
a
the birth
lot of
chart,
free ones.
take that reading and upload it into ChatGPT for more details.
Yes, yes. And you could compare it to others. You could
Okay.
put like your kids and yours, and it could tell you, and you could ask it specific questions. But like I was just telling ChatGPT, like, I'm talking to the author of, Kosher Astrology. What should I ask? And it was like, okay, load up your birth chart. Let me see. Like, ask them about your tikkun and why you're so into this. So it will definitely help you, but do not use it as your birth chart. I'm gonna take this. No.
Wow.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yes,
Okay.
that's what I'm trying to. There's incredible amounts of information. If people understood how much information there is, how helpful it can be in your life, everybody would be rushing to do it. That just people don't understand. It sounds so fantastical, but person after person, when I first encountered it, I was like shocked. This can't be true. This can't be. And I looked through my birth chart and I studied everybody, my friends and family, and I saw this was true. This is a real thing. That it's something that Hashem created to help us grow. It's mamish a tool to help us grow, and it has incredible amounts of information. Why wouldn't you want to look into it?
Okay, let's go to the next live question. You're on.
Yeah, hi, you hear me?
Yeah.
I have so many questions and comments to make. This is so fascinating and so exciting for me because I always had I always wanted to get into this, but I was afraid that it's not kosher. Because the way we were taught, first of all, you were talking about Avram Avinu, that he was an astrologist, but Hashem told him, get out of your astrology world because there's no mazel for Yidden, right? Because according to his astrology, he couldn't have a child. He couldn't give, right?
Yeah, wait, let me answer that, because that's a very misunderstood thing. That's in the same Gemara in Shabbos 156. And actually, it's this fascinating Gemara where it says Avram Avinu has a conversation with Hashem. He says, Hashem, I looked at my birth chart, I looked at my astrological chart, and I saw I can't have children. And you promised me I'm going to have children. What's going on? So Hashem said, Avram, you're mistaking in how you're looking at astrology. That's a fatalistic version. It's not even you look at a birth chart, you can see you don't have children. And then the Gemara says, you think you can't have children because Jupiter's in the east? I'm going to move Jupiter from the east to the west. This is the Gemara. The Farish says that. So Hashem was teaching Avram Avinu the proper way how to look at astrology. And yes, the big takeaway, Avram was discussing astrology with Hashem. Yeah, let's be very clear about that. Yes.
Yeah, and also it sounds too good to be true. Like, and if it sounds also like it feels like if everyone gets into it, then there's no bechira because like everyone is told exactly what their tikkun is and how to get to it.
I tell you, that's one thing you don't have to worry because there's a lot of hard work involved. There's no easy street. It's not like once you have the information, okay, you can sit back and throw up your feet. There's a lot of work you have to do. Healing.
The information is not going to tell you you should go into sales and you should.
Right. It's not going to give you.
It's giving you your koiches that you're better with people, or you're better with deeper
Right,
things.
different parts of yourself, what you're here to develop, and what here you can bring out. And then there's a dozen different ways you can bring that out. It won't tell you a specific thing, but here's the beauty: Hashem will send you the right messages at the right time in your life about what area to get into. Example, with me in astrology, I was never interested in astrology, and then in 2008, January 1st, 2009, the last day of 2008, is when I encountered astrology. Hashem sent it on just a crazy thing that I was in a car with a friend, and he just got with two friends. One had just gotten engaged, and the friend who just gotten engaged, he had told me that he knew a frum woman who does astrology, and I don't know why. For some reason, I said, "Hey, let's call her up. Let's ask her some questions." I was just curious. It was just a lark. I called her up, and I gave her my birth date. I gave her my friend's birth information, and first thing she started goes, wow, you have a lot of the element of ear. Are you a rabbi, a professor, a scholar, a Talmud Chacham? I'm like, I'm not a rabbi, or professor, but yes, I'd like to study and I like to write. I was like, whoa, that's all. She just told me that one piece of information. And then for my friend, she says, you have a lot of the element of earth. You're more grounded, more practical, more materialistic. And he was a school principal, and he felt it fit him well. And I was just blown away, like, wait, had she switched it and said I was earth and he was air, it wouldn't have fit us at all. So that was the one little piece. And after that, I was like, wow, is this real? So I went out and I bought books and I started studying all the Jewish sources on it. But this was an encounter that out of the blue that Hashem sent me 15 years ago to start this journey. So that's the key. The key is that once you're doing your thing, Hashem will send you the right messenger, the right tools, how to bring it out. But it's not easy street. Trust me, it was a lot of work. I spent 5 years writing my book and going through all these different things, and you have to work on yourself. One thing is clear. It never removes brechira and your free will and the work that you need to do. That's always going to be there.
Yeah, and another little question. Can I? So I listen to a lot of shirim on Emin and B'tochen, and they always say that, okay, so if you believe in Mazel, then Hashem is going to put you in the power of Mazel. And if you don't believe in Mazel, then you're going to be directly under Hashem's guidance.
Yes, so that is yes. So I've heard that a lot also. And again, that's a very confusing thing. When we say mazel, what does that mean? They're talking about the deterministic version, which means, oh, if I have Jupiter, they'll have good luck. So I'm hoping to have good luck. No, that's not what mazel is. Mazel is your purpose in this world, your gifts and your abilities. What is that? So how do you not work through your gifts and abilities? It's about understanding that it's directed by Hashem. There's no separation between astrology and Hashem. Hashem directs the world. Ramchal says this. Hashem directs the world through astrology. He gave you a birth chart. These are your abilities. These are your gifts, and these are your things. It's like you have hands, legs, and eyes. Don't use them. Just trust on Hashem. That's what, like you're saying. Your birth chart is like your eyes and hands and legs and mouth and your abilities. So it's a disconnect. When they say that, they're talking about the not kosher version of astrology.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, let's go to the next question.
Hi, good evening. My question concerns the Jew's ability to change his or her mazel. I wondered if you could please address that. It may touch on the misconception of fatalistic horoscopes and astrology. I think it's very important because when a person is told their mazel, kosher way, borderline kosher, sometimes they get stuck in that predetermined or fatalistic or meant to be future. So I'd like you please to address it. How does a Jewish person, and we know it says in the Torah specifically that a Jew has the capability and ability to change his or her mazel. Please address it.
Yes.
Thanks.
So that's an excellent question. Again, this is where all the confusion is. We don't want to change our mazel. That's like when we say change our mazel, that's a fatalistic version. Oh, I looked in astrology and this Chaldean astrologer, understand how it was used. This is a Gemara, Rabbi Akiva, the famous Rabbi Akiva. The Chaldeans in the Gemara's time, they were famous astrologers. That's what they did. They used astral magic and astromancy. They used not kosher versions of astrology. And one Chaldean came to Rabbi Akiva and said, your daughter is going to die on the day of her wedding. That's what mazel was. The mazel that they were talking about was astromancy, a fatalistic prediction, and that we want to change. That's not what kosher astrology is. Kosher astrology is your gifts, your abilities, your strengths. You don't want to change that. You want to hone it and grow into it. I'll give you an example. You saw the chart before I was talking about where you have the 5 planets representing each one a different side of yourself. So Mercury represents your communication and thinking. I have in my chart the planet Pluto connected to Mercury. So Pluto is all about intensity and depth. So it really wants to dig deep. So my Mercury, my communication and thinking, I have no patience for fluffy kind of things. I want to dig deep into things. And also it likes to address the elephant in the room. Everybody's ignoring a major thing. Somebody with Pluto Mercury is going to say, hey, what's going on with this? And that's what I did with my book, Kosher Astrology. It's so blatant in the Torah. Nobody's aware of it. Nobody's talking about it. It's so powerful. So this is not something I want to change. I want to hone. This is a gift that Hashem gave me. I want to hone this because it's not an easy energy. You have to learn how to manage it, how to skill. It's practice. And as I hone it, then I can do my tafkid. So I want to step into my mazel. I'm not trying to avoid it. Whenever you hear they're trying to avoid it or change it, that's talking about not kosher astrology, astromancy, fatalistic, like what they told Rabbi Akiva. Yes. Yeah, can you?
Wait, 1 second.
Yes, we can hear you now.
I know, but I can't see anything now. 1 minute. Oh, I got it. Okay. But I understand totally, and I appreciate that answer for part of my question. But let's say, for example, someone's told, you have an intensity, you tend to analyze, overanalyze, think a lot. And let's say he or she would like to make a change. They don't want to stay so intense. They don't want to be so analytical.
So, okay, so
Can
that's
they
what.
change that?
So
If
again,
they-
that's why you have to look at the whole chart. So that part would be Mercury, for example, their intense thinking. So I would see, do you have Saturn there? Do you have Chiron there? Do you have a wounding around it? What are you doing with your emotions? Are you recognizing your emotions? Have you suppressed your emotions because you're so into your thinking? The problem might not be their thinking. The problem might be because they suppress their emotions and they don't value their emotions. And then they have a whole shadow side and that's causing blocks and issues and problems. You have to look at the whole chart. But if something's there, it was placed there by Hashem as a gift, and we're here to hone it, to turn it into an incredible superpower.
Let's do Donald Trump's chart. I don't want to see Donald Trump's chart.
Okay, let's look at so let me share my screen
just to get concept of what a birth chart looks like.
Okay, tell me, do you see President Donald J. Trump?
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, this is what a birth chart looks like. The moment you're born, these are all, I know it's, I always tell people it looks Chinese, right? There's all these different kind of things. So when I do a birth chart reading, I spend the first 10 minutes just going through explaining everything, what's happening in here, what the process. So remember in the chart that I just showed you before, of the warrior, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, the 5 parts that make up human functioning. So let's look at Donald Trump. This is his sun. This represents his identity, this round circle with the dot, right? And down here, the opposite is his moon. It's literally in the shape of a moon. So that's his emotions. So this is identity and his emotions. Excuse me. And right next to it, you see the thing with the headphones? That's called a north node. That's your purpose and tafkid in the world. So Donald Trump has his sun, his identity, his moon, his emotions, and his north node, his purpose in this world, very close together. And he has one major planet flavoring all of them. And that's this planet right here. You see this blue planet that looks like a battle axe? That's the planet Uranus. And Uranus represents the energy of being authentic and true and rebellion and independence and don't tell me what to do. I need to be true to myself. So most of us, we have certain beliefs in life and we have certain different ideas. And sometimes we're afraid to share it because what's our rabbi going to say? What's our family going to say? We have cancel culture or it's going to affect the shidduchim of my children if people really knew my thoughts and beliefs. When a person has Uranus in their chart, They don't care. They have to speak their truth. They have to be authentic and true, and they don't care about the effects. They're like, this love me or hate me, I don't care. I got to speak my truth. Has there ever been a more person like that, a president of the United States who says whatever he wants? He doesn't think twice about it. He speaks his mind. He doesn't care about the consequences. Again, this is not pro or negative. Love him or hate him, it doesn't matter. It's about his personality. And you can see this planet of Uranus being authentic and true and speaking your truth and being individuated and independent is connected to his identity, to who he is. It's connected to his emotions. Don't tell him what to do. He's going to do what he wants to do. It's connected to his purpose in this world. And look, he's been president of the United States twice. So very clearly, this is a huge part of who he is and the message that he's bringing to the world. In fact, the one word that all the press use all the time, whenever he does anything, it's unprecedented. It's never been done before that a president should do this and that. That's Uranus. He literally symbolizes Uranus. So when you, because this is very unusual to have one planet connected to 3 of the most important parts of your chart. But when that happens, you can see it in the personality. Everybody who knows him can see it. So these are things that you can really see. It really breaks down who you are and what you're here to do. And this is part of his Tafkid, is to be authentic and true and speak his truth. And that's, again, love him or hate him. Can he do it better in a nicer way? Sure, all of that. But he's here to do that. And that's just one level. There's many different things going on in his chart. So for example, what I spoke about before, Venus is your self-value. He has Saturn connected to Venus. That was the example that I was giving, that he feels he has to achieve in order to have self-value. And sometimes if you don't feel good enough, that's why he's always boasting. I made the most, the largest, the biggest. He's always boasting because he has to prove his value, because he has that voice in his head, Saturn, saying, you know, I'm not good enough. I'm not, maybe I need to do more. I need to prove myself more. You know, so if I was talking to Donald Trump, I would say, no, Donald, believe in yourself, you know, you know, like, right. And meaning you don't have to prove, you don't have to prove yourself. You can see, so Saturn, Venus sometimes affects our self-esteem, and you can see it with him. He always has to prove himself. He's always boasting. You know, so again, that's just some parts. So you can see that
now is your chance. He might listen to this. What would you want to tell him?
Right, I would tell him. I mean, so yes, that he has that incredible self-value. Here's another piece. He has his Mercury, his communication and thinking is connected to Neptune. You see down here, this looks like a green pitchfork. So Neptune is all about elevation and transcendence and tapping into the collective. So his Mercury is communication and thinking. He has a message that he's able to tap into the collective. Clearly, he won the presidency twice. So clearly his message is resonating, that he was here to share a certain message with the world that the world was ready to hear. You know, another person who had a Mercury Neptune was Neil Armstrong, you know, the first person to land on the moon. So that was also, he had a major message, an inspirational message to share with the world. He said, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And that was incredible inspiration all over the world. So people who have Mercury, Neptune are here to share a powerful message with the world. So there's a lot of information that's here that's so powerful that you can grow from, that can help you in life, that gives you a clear direction and understanding. And then, so you see people who already lived, you know, Donald Trump is what, 78 years old. So you can see so much of this stuff because his personal life is so well known. You can see it. It's blatant in the chart. You can't make this stuff up. It's very rare to see Uranus connected to 3 of the strongest planets. Very rare. And that's why you have this kind of personality.
Many people build their world from that feeling that they're not good enough. So the question is, would you take that away? Maybe they let them, you know, become the president because that's how they feel good. Finish.
So you know, it's true. Automatically, the fact that they have Saturn, they're going to work hard. But I want the belief to be that I'm valuable. It's not going to stop them from working hard. They're still going to feel the urge to work hard, but disconnected, because sometimes that can become a negative. It can become where, look at Donald Trump, where he feels he has to prove himself all the time. Right? So I want it to be a point where you believe in yourself, do the hard work, but you don't have to prove yourself. Trust in yourself. Trust that Hashem loves you. And also, in order to do your purpose, you really have to fully believe in yourself. That's when your chart really steps up. You have to have that self-belief. That's a crucial piece of the puzzle. Okay, so that was Donald Trump.
So what do you do about self-belief? How do you teach that?
So that's what, so if a person has Saturn, right? So whatever it is, the doubting voice, what I say, concretize it, Call it out. When it's talking to you, bring it out. Say it's Saturn sitting on your shoulder. It's Yetzirah, the same voice that told Moshe Rabbeinu, the greatest Navi and leader in the world, that he's not good enough. That same voice is telling you that you're not good enough. And I'm telling, when I tell that to people, it gives incredible encouragement. When it comes up, I called it out. Oh, you know why have a conversation with it. Say, excuse me, I can't do it. Isn't that what you told Moshe Rabbeinu also? That's really, you're not doing a good job. You didn't do a good job for Moshe Rabbeinu. I'm not going to listen to you either. And again, it's avoided. This is not, you can't snap your fingers. I'm not trying to say that it's easy to work through our stuff, but here we can identify it. And also there's different timing in our lives when different energy comes into our lives, when it's really an opportunity, it's going to come up, that stuff, for you to really heal. And this cycles, there's so much information that's going on. This is just the birth chart. There's cycles in your entire life. There's energies of planets coming at a certain time in your life. I'll give you an example. There's a once-in-a-lifetime energy of Saturn connecting with your sun. This is in the progression, not the transit. The transits happen more often. So in the progressions, once in a lifetime. And what's Saturn? Saturn is hard work, and Sun is your identity. So it's hard work connected to your identity. That's when you establish your authority. That's when because of your hard work, you establish your authority. So I had that literally the day that I had that, this once in a lifetime energy. That's when my books arrived in New York, and publishing my book established my authority with Kosher Astrology. That established my authority. So literally, that's when I had Sun Saturn. So literally,
What if you miss it?
So Hashem runs the world. You're not the big key. Yes, I know people who are sometimes stuck in their lives. If you're not doing the work, if you're not doing the shadow work, if you're not doing the healing work, if you're not active, if you're not conscious, if you're just living your life not consciously, then you can miss it. Our work in Avodah, I mean, what is it when Hashem says we should be a Am Kadosh, a holy nation? What does that mean? That means a conscious nation. When we make a bracha, we're conscious of everything we do. We're not just animalistic. We put on tefillin that our body is not ruling us. We're ruling our body. That's what the tefillin is, that the neshama is driving the guf, the body. So it's all about becoming conscious. If we're doing that, if you're becoming conscious, if you're doing the healing work, you're not going to miss it.
Wow.
Okay, let's go to the next question. You're on.
Hi, good evening. First of all, thank you so much for sharing all this information. It's very fascinating. So I would like to maybe to share my own experience and maybe you can elaborate on that. And
He muted himself. 1 second. Unmute. You muted yourself.
you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so since I'm young, I'm always also been into kind of my astrology and reading about my my zodiac signs, and I've learned to know that I'm a Taurus and that I'm matching with a Capricorn. I would like to learn more on the Yiddish terminology of that astrology, what it means to me, what my good traits are, weaknesses, and what maybe is the main focus that I should put on. I was born on May 19, 1976.
Okay.
It was the day after
So here's the thing. Understand, that's what I went through. You saw the chart of the warrior that I put up before, of the 5 planets. So it's not just that you're a Taurus and that you connect well with a Capricorn. What's really important to understand with astrology is that there's multiple layers. The zodiac signs is just the first layer. There's multiple layers that influences, like I showed you with Donald Trump. He has Uranus connected to a planet. I wasn't even talking about his zodiac signs, right? And that strongly influences. So you have to look at the entire chart. What's going on with your Mercury, communication and thinking? What's going on with your emotions? Is your emotions in Jupiter is enthusiastic and exciting? Or there's so much more, and that's going to show you, if you want to look at it connecting to another person, you first have to really understand yourself, and then you can see what the connections with others. It's not just zodiac signs. We're way too complex human beings for that. Multiple layers.
Right, according to that logic, there would be basically 12 types of people in the whole world.
Right, exactly. And that's not it at all. In fact, there's so many unique combinations of charts, quintillions. And the Gemara Shabbos says, the Klal Yisrael told this incredible Gemara, this is Gemara in Brachos, where Klal Yisrael told Hashem that, we're going through so much suffering, you don't care about us, you forgot about us. And Hashem went, I created 30 legions of stars. And under those 30 legions, I created 30 this of that, and 30 this, and 30 this. And that 30 times 30 is 30 quintillion stars. And I created all of this for you, and you said, I don't care about you. So understand that this is Gemara and Brachas, that Hashem created the vast galaxy, all these planets and stars for us to help us grow. Like the Bereshit Rabbah says, it's all here to help us grow. And it's here. Hashem loves us. Hashem wants us to succeed. Hashem wants us to fly. Hashem doesn't want us to be working a 9-to-5 miserable job and hating our lives. You're doing it wrong. That's not Judaism. That's not Hashem. Hashem loves you, wants you to do your tafkid, be a great individual. That's what you're here to be. Don't spend your life, don't leave your Ferrari in the garage. Take it out for a spin.
So how does one plug into their tafkid and learning it in the right way, how to go about it and how to execute their tafkid and to succeed?
Step one, Kosher Astrology. It's 500 pages. It has 75 pages of illustrations. It's going to help you understand what it can tell you, what it can't tell you, what the energies of every planet means. What does Pluto mean? What does Uranus mean? What does Neptune mean? I have examples of how it works with Shidduchim. I bring stories of different things. There's incredible amounts of information. Start with the book. Then you look at, once you have a better understanding, then you can look at your birth chart. Then you can go for a chart reading. There's all these different steps that you can take. My website is kosherastro.com. I offer different services. You can go there. But I'm hoping, here's the thing. This is such a powerful thing. I want everybody to become an astrologer. So I'm hoping to create astrology classes that everybody can become an astrologer. This should be part of the way everybody understands the world. You should know your children. You should know your interactions with people. You should know your tafkid and purpose. And it's not somebody telling you. You can see this yourself. Every person. It's a mitzvah, lachshav kiyus mazalas. It's a mitzvah. You're mekayim a mitzvah. Somebody was just telling me he was doing the mitzvah shliach hakam today, right? Was that you, Usher? Right? You telling? So when was did you do the mitzvah of mitzvah lachshav kiyus mazalas? You have to do that mitzvah too. And by the way,
I am doing it right now.
You can be yaitz to that mitzvah by reading the book. Yes, yes.
Okay.
I hope that helps.
Okay, let's go to the next question. Hi.
Hi. Okay, so a few quick things. So Bishvili Nivra Olam really means, is it impossible? Is it possible that two people ever share the exact same everything?
So yes, absolutely.
I want to pause for a second.
Yeah.
When somebody's born, it's every minute, it's every hour. When would that shift change?
So if somebody's born,
one of the questions that people, 2-3 people ask this question. I'm a twin. I'm born at the exact same as.
Right.
Okay, let's break that down. Okay, so first of all, that's an excellent question.
If it's 11:32, it might be 11:27. They just put 11:32.
Right. So no. So that's not going to make a big difference. Those few minutes are not going to make a big difference. Generally, the chart is going to be the same. Here's the thing: twins. People have this. It's a great question. You see twins, and they're born with the same birth chart, and you see they have different personalities. What's going on? So every birth chart has internal conflicts within us, right? So let's say connected to our planet, the moon, emotions, you might have both Saturn and Jupiter. So Saturn is all about discipline, restrictions, the cup is half empty, and Jupiter is enthusiasm and excitement and a can-do attitude, and the cup is half full. So now a regular person, they might have this conflict and they might pick one side and suppress the other side. And their avoida is to learn how to utilize both sides, both Saturn, the discipline restrictions, and the Jupiter, the enthusiasm, excitement. What tends to happen with twins is they do it externally. One will adapt the Saturn side, which is more discipline and restrictions. They seem more serious. Another one is Jupiter, happy-go-lucky type. And I tell twins, you have to do both. I did a chart reading for a woman, and she had a twin brother, and they had the energy of that very strong energy of Capricorn, which is very ambitious, work-oriented, building business type of energy. And they also had very much Neptune, which is elevation and transcendence. So the brother worked in like capital funding, like in finance kind of thing, and she was a filmmaker. And I was like saying, this is so perfect. You did these two parts. You took the Neptune part, the elevation, transcendence, which is like filmmaking kind of thing. And he did the Capricorn sign. But guess what? you also have to adapt the Capricorn side within you and build a structure and build a thing and include this elevation and transcendent side. And he also needs to bring in Neptune, which can be spirituality or creativity. But they split. Each one did one side, and they look very like two very different people with very different careers, but they both have the same thing within them. So there's a lot going on within us. It's not simple. It's complex, and it's important to understand what's happening. And that's what happens with twins. But you know what? With twins, pay close attention. You'll see if they have like a major astrological energy when they're 30 years old, they're both going to go through a major transformative times. It can be very different. One could be getting married. One can start a new career. It may look different, but you'll see the big changes in their lives happen roughly around the same time. Pay attention to that.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that. Two more quick things. So this is a very powerful tool, obviously. It's almost redemptive. It's almost like maybe a little nevuah. It's a touch of nevuah, a touch of, great, great, deep, powerful, transformational insight. Is there a downside to this?
So every single tool in the world has a downside if it's not used correctly. You have to come with the proper instructions. The proper instructions right here, Kosher Astrology, So, but how can it be? This is something that Hashem created for your benefit. That's
Could it hurt? I mean, I guess could it hurt somebody to know that all these gifts are waiting for them, and of course, and they're still blocked, which is a very, very frustrating and painful phenomenon. They can't get to it, which is what we're talking about tonight: healing it so that we can get to Hashem's timeline. We get to it. We keep working and chiseling away, and we know it's there, and it's not yet ours.
So that's beautiful. So actually what I do with the chart reading, I sometimes tell people like your process here, and I can show them this is going to be healing next couple of years. In 5 years from now, you're starting a new moon, a new cycle for the next 30 years of your life. So first you're here to work through this stuff. You're on the timeline. Relax. You're not doing anything wrong. You're in the right space in the right time. That's what's so encouraging. Exactly. If I haven't yet achieved my greatness, it's so encouraging to know, I'm on my right timeline. I'm here when I need to come.
What happens if it's the other way?
What?
What happens if it's the other way?
What does that mean, the other way?
There's no possibility of the other way to see you missed it.
Next 30 years, you have to
No,
work
so that's the beautiful thing about it. I love Hashem. He's brilliant in what he does. He comes around again and again. He'll give you the opportunities. It's all cycles.
But you did mention something. Once a lifetime. You got me scared.
One second. We have a child cycle, we have an adult cycle, and we have an elder cycle. So the same issues will come up in 30-year increments again and again, and you have the opportunity to fix it. Now, by the way, if you do that once in a lifetime, there's constant transits, and there's other once in a lifetime energies. Don't worry, Hashem has got, that's the beauty of this. This is such a brilliant, wild, I'll give you a good example, okay? Rabbi David Cohn, he's the one who gave the Haskama on my book. Baruch Hashem, he's 92 years old, okay? And first of all, he's so nice. One of the very few people, he called me back and he reached out to me. So nice and so helpful, beautiful. He gave the Haskama on my book. Okay, now, so after I did that, I looked up his birth chart. And like I said, there's a couples chart. You can see two people, how they interact with each other. I wanted to see this is a very big thing for me. My book might be controversial. It needs a big gadol to give haskama. So I wanted to see what is that. And so I looked at my chart. Remember, I showed you with Donald Trump, every person has a north node, what your purpose and tafkid in this world. And I looked at my chart, my north node, and I put his chart on top. His Saturn exactly connected with my north node. Saturn represents your authority. So his authority connected with my purpose in this world, and he gave the haskama on my book. How perfect is that? Now wait, we're not done yet. So 1 second. So when he was born 92 years ago, Hashem set up his planet Saturn should be in an exact certain location. 40 years later, when I was born, Hashem set up my north node to be in the exact same location. And that 50 years after that should be the perfect timing when me and him connect, when he gives the haskama on my book. It's ma rabu masech Hashem, the calculations to have all of these things figured out and calculated, how they all connect in your own birth chart, how you connect with other people is mind-blowing. That's why the Ran says, that's why one of the mitzvahs of Lachshav Kiv's Mazolas is you recognize the greatness of Hashem. Ibn Ezra says that nobody other than like the great astrologers can truly see the magnificence of Hashem because they see all the incredible calculations that it requires for Hashem to work it all out. So trust Hashem. He's got this. He's got you. He's got it all figured out. And he did incredible things that it works for every one of us in incredible ways. And I've seen it a million ways. And by the way, you really want to grow your betuchen and amina, study astrology. It's going to blow your mind. You see Hashem is involved deeply. It's so personal. He's deeply involved in your life. He loves you. Hashem loves you. Hashem wants you to succeed. You see it so clearly.
Can I ask one last question just very quickly? And yes, I can see how, in addition to studying the human body and nature, that this is has the real potency to draw a person's heart into being a maimon, because you see that everything is so exact. I wanted to ask you also, you said that there are four requirements. What a person has to be able to do something, has to want to do something, be able to do it. The world needs it. And he has to be able to make money.
No. You have to love, one second. You have to love what you're doing.
Oh, you have to love it.
Be really good at it. It's something that the world needs, and make money. Yes.
So let's talk about the make money piece. Where does that come into the mazel? Let's say you really love something, you're really good at it, the world really needs it, but Hashem doesn't want you to make money from it. Talk about that a little bit more.
I love this. Hashem wants you to be a millionaire. Absolutely. Hashem wants you to be a millionaire. Hashem is pouring shefa down on every single person. The problem is we're blocking it. We opened up our umbrella and we're blocking the shefa. We're not doing our tafkid. We're not doing our gift. We're blocked. Again, it's not our fault. I just want to be clear. I'm not blaming anybody. This is the human experience. We have to learn how to unblock ourselves, how to unstuck ourselves, how to heal. When you do that, when you're doing the tafkid, the shefa comes pouring down, pouring.
So a person who's lacking financially is a person who's still blocked. Would you say that?
Yes,
and vice versa, a person who's not, a person who's wealthy is totally unblocked? Are we really saying that?
Whoa. Let's be clear. Wealth is not the measurement of success. I'm saying when you're doing your tafkid, you shouldn't be struggling with money. Money will be there. The fact that somebody is wealthy doesn't mean that they accomplish their tafkid. You can do that also. It's possible that somebody can be wealthy without it. You have people who don't have great growth and are not doing it from their tafkid and can be wealthy. So I'm not saying that. However, for each of us, when we're doing our tafkid, we should be doing what we love, what we're good at, what the world needs, and we'll make the financial money that we need. You know, that it's hand in hand. There's no question about that. It's not about, oh, this person is meant to be wealthy or not wealthy. It's actually irrelevant in the big picture. Wealth is nonsense. It's nonsense. You could be wealthy and the most miserable person in the world.
So you're just saying the financial wherewithal will be intact.
Yes, if you're doing your tafkid, you'll find. And by the way, today it's so easy. The barriers to you don't need to rent a store. Today, you have the internet. You do a tafkid, you have a skill set, you can bring it to the world. You don't have to do anything. It's so easy today to develop your talents and bring it to the world. You're an incredible painter, you can bring it out to the world. You're a singer, you have a talent, you can help people, you can encourage people. You can today. There's so many creative ways. And the barrier to entry is eliminated today. So all that's holding us back is ourselves. That's it.
Thank you for that, Amjan. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Valdik, let's go to the next question. You're on.
Hi,
Hi.
it's me, Stella, right?
Yeah.
Hi, good evening. So more you talk, more question I have. So before I go to my real question is the timing that you already asked. How long can be a difference in time? It's just because I'm asking because I was born in Brazil. I don't know how good they are if they put it exactly the time.
So first of all, I always tell people, if you don't have birth certificate, ask, if our parents are still alive, mom or dad. Usually our mothers remember our time of birth. Sometimes people write it down. If I don't have a time of birth, then I put 12 p.m. That's the exact midpoint of the day. And sometimes the moon, if it's in a sensitive spot, there's a few things I might not know, but everything else in the chart I can still see, even if we don't have a time of birth. Again, it's much more preferred to have an exact time of birth, but even without it, there's a lot of information we can tell even without a time of birth.
Okay, so now is my question. Based in Breslov, based in Ravarush books, everything is orchestrated from God, correct?
Yes.
It's our thoughts, there is no coincidence. It's no coincidence that we are listening to you tonight. Nothing is coincidence, everything happened for a reason, and it's orchestrated, is not us. If it's that's all true, Why do we need to know? If we came to this world to do our purpose, to make our midot better, to pray, or let's say why we say Tehillim, why we praying, if we are not doing our purpose. Our purpose is to be a better person, correct? So
Absolutely.
if we know the astrology, that might help, but why we need to know? Trust me, that's something that I love it, and I will go for it. I go for all the Kabbalists, everything. But if our purpose is to get the conscious, to open our vessel, to get the abundance of the brachot, so if we know our purpose, yes, will help. But they say if you have consciousness, you realize what is your purpose. Whatever you struggle is where you have to do your tikkun. And
So excellent question. No, that's a really excellent question. So here's the two key things. First of all, you don't have to know astrology in order to do your Tafkid and purpose.
no, but if it's going to help, why
Well,
not?
so 1 second, right. So the thing is, the question is like the person who's blocked, the person that I told you was a painter, she stopped painting for 2 years because she had Saturn, that was the negative voice in her head telling her not to do. You know, if you're achieving your Tafkid, like I said, if you're doing all of those 4 things, you love what you do, you're good at what you do, it's something the world needs, you can make money from it, and you're feeling fulfilled and you're doing your thing, you don't need astrology. But the thing is, here's what are you going to do about your kids? You know, if your energy is Cancer, I get this a lot. The mother's energy is Cancer, which is likes things to be quiet and gentle. And they have a child that has an Aries energy, fire and running and doing. And the parent tries to teach the children, hey, be quiet. You're trying to tell your child that he's not good because you don't realize that he has a different gift than you. The problem is a lot of people end up suffering by not knowing that the different energies that people have and the gifts that you have. But you don't have to have it. I'm not saying you have to have it. But,
No, I think
but my question would be, why in the world would you not want to know this?
Exactly. I agree.
That's my question. But you
100%.
don't have to. You don't have to.
No, trust me, I'm going to call you and want to have my charts read. But
Okay.
the question is, it was this. If everything happens for the best for us and for a reason, so, and we have to go through the process, so maybe the astrology wasn't defeating the purpose of to go through the purpose.
You know, I feel like it's like everything else. I'm a big believer. Hashem sends us messages all the time. You know, so let's say if I needed to heal something and I heard about this retreat and I went to this retreat and it helped me heal, right? So that to me is a message from Hashem. If you're hearing about astrology now, okay, so then it's also potentially a message from Hashem to look into it. You know, Hashem sends us the timing. You know, also the timing. There's a reason why that Hashem chose this time in the world for this information to come out. You know, people are ready. I have a particular transit. I have Neptune. Neptune is all about elevation and transcendence and connecting with the collective. I have it on my MC, on my public life, connected to my communication and to my values right now. It's once in 40 years. Hashem chose this is the time when I meant to spread this message. If you're one of those persons who hear this message and you think it could be helpful, to me, that's a message of Hashem. Baal Shem Tov says this. Everything, if you walk on the street and you hear a half a conversation of somebody on the phone, you hear like a half a sentence, there's a message there for you with that also.
Exactly.
You know?
So how we get in contact with you to read the chart?
KosherAstro.com. That's my website. You can sign up for a birth chart reading. My email is kosherastrology@gmail.com. You can email me. I'm happy to answer any questions. But I would strongly suggest start with the book. This is available on Amazon, Kosher
I
Astrology.
just bought it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. But for anybody else, start with the book because you're going to see so much information. Again, I spent years of research and I know this is such a big topic and there's so many critics. So I wanted to make sure that it's right. And by the way, I love books. I own like 2,000 books and I hate when I buy a book and I'm so excited to read it and then it's like half boring and it doesn't tell me. So I wanted to make sure that people get their values worth with the book. And so I put in so much energy and koiches and I try to make it beautiful also with the illustrations. So it should be every chapter, at the end of the chapter has a full color illustration that gives you a summary of the chapter. So that's really, really beautiful. So start with that. And then you can go to my website, kosherastro.com, and I'm happy to do a chart reading as well.
KosherAstro.com. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Appreciate
Sure, my
it.
pleasure.
Let's take one more live question, and then we'll go into some wrap-ups, and we'll go to the closing. Let's go. Last live question.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi, thank you very much, Rabbi Asher, for taking my question. Coach Menachem, it's wonderful being part of the Coach Menachem world, as Rabbi Asher mentioned in the beginning of the show. It's really wonderful what you do, and I'm very appreciative. I saw this book when I went into the store, and I, wasn't sure about it. After seeing Rabbi Yitzchok here on the Zoom, it was definitely a push, and when you know the author, it changes the whole picture. I have several questions. If I can ask, I don't know, ask one at a time or all three. The first thing is, you mentioned every mazel be'etzem is good. So what is it when we wish somebody mazel tov? I understood that it's a bracha to him, that he should, everything should be with a good mazel. According to what you said, every mazel is good, just maybe there'll be a struggle, but that has a tremendous potential, and so what?
So so that's a great question. You're wishing them it should be less of a struggle, that the mazel, like every energy, can have a difficult aspect to it. There are things that we need to overcome. It should be a mazel tov. It should be easy and elevated kind of thing. We're wishing somebody that the energy, the way that Hashem runs the world, is amazing, should be positive. That's all. It's just a blessing.
That's what I'm saying. Easy doesn't necessarily always mean that. Easy doesn't always mean something good.
When we wish people an easy fast, people say have a meaningful fast instead of an easy fast, right? Or easy fast. Okay, you got to do the work, but become more aware of what you're doing. Become conscious of what you're doing. You can wish people well, though. There's nothing wrong with wishing people. Look, everybody has to go through their struggle.
Right, but connecting it to mazel, mazel is neutral. Meaning there's not a bad or
neutral.
Good
mazel is incredibly positive and good. It's not neutral.
Okay, so it's positive.
Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Pure goodness.
Or maybe it could just be a statement that this is a good mazel.
This is mazel tov. You reached the mazel tov. Yes.
Right. God. Okay. So the next question is: how does this match up with other strengths that exist that Hashem put in? For example, a person's name, which is, I know this is maybe not your expertise, but a person's name also has tremendous power. And also, in a broader sense, the whole idea of nature and nurture, which meaning there is a mazel, but a person's upbringing, his circumstances, all sorts of things like that.
So absolutely. First of all, Hashem created many wisdoms in the world. There's a psychology, there's my personality types, there's millions of different chachmas in the world that Hashem created. Yes, Hashem is amazing, and feel free. People study and connect with the thing that they connect with the most. So absolutely, there are many different ways to do it. I find astrology incredibly deep and comprehensive. I'm always open to that. I love Myers-Briggs and the personality types.
Could there be contradictions? For example, if a person's name will give one type of strength, and then the birth date and
so contradictions are not a problem. In the chart, there can be conflicting energy, and we have to learn how to balance both, how to utilize very different types of energies. There's nothing we don't have to be afraid of conflicting energies. So a person has multiple strengths and multiple abilities, and the name is very powerful. Your name is a very, very powerful thing. There's no question about that. Yes.
Would it make sense to, based on a person's date, the parents who understand the name somewhat, to use a name which would amplify that mazel that the child was born in?
I don't have any expertise in naming things. The only thing I would tell you, look, we say at the end of Shemona Esra, connected to your name, you say a pasuk connected to your name. Right. Study that. That's very powerful. Look at the Mefarshim that bring that down. Usually it's a pasuk in Tehillim. Look at the art scroll, how it describes that pasuk, and you'll see it's connected to somewhat your purpose. It's very, very powerful. People don't know how powerful it is connected names. But I can't give you any advice on that. I have no expertise in that.
Beautiful. My last question, I'm sorry, maybe I'm taking too much time, is can a person figure out their birth chart after learning the book? Is that part of the book, or it's just,
So yes. So it's like, if you ask me, if I read a book, can I become an expert architect? So no, but it's a process. You're going to learn a lot about architect from a book. So this is, first of all, to understand the kosher, not kosher. This is going to give you all the details. It's not going to be Chinese anymore. When we talk about Pluto, you'll understand what that is. You talk about Neptune, you'll understand what that is. Then you have to study your birth chart. It's a process, of learning. You start with the book because it has all the key information there in the book. But it's not
Can we
like,
write our own birth
you're not going to
chart
be an
based on the book?
expert after reading one book. You're not going to be it took me 15 years to be an expert.
Sure, but is it possible to write a birth chart after reading the book, or we
Yeah,
wouldn't have
yeah.
it?
You can go to any website. There's astro.com. Again, I'm not encouraging. That's the problem with the non-Jewish out there. They have a lot of information, but then they're going to mix it in with like not kosher things and not. But you can get your birth chart. Go to astro.com. You put in your birth information. It will tell you your sun is in this sign connected to this planet.
Wow.
Your moon is in this sign. Yeah, it's easy. It's free to get a birth chart. And
Wow.
then once you know a few things about your birth chart, then when you read the book, oh, so I have Pluto very strongly, and Pluto is all about transformation, going from a caterpillar into a butterfly. Oh, okay. So that's what that means. So it's very, very helpful to understand that. Yes.
Right. Are there also disputes? I know there's a book, The Mysterious, also written by a Chabad Rabbi.
Yeah, Rabbi Pinkesz Taylor. So I actually did his podcast. So he did, I think he did a phenomenal job. He did 70 pages about astrology.
Right.
But on the last page, he says, but it's better to not go directly to Hashem and not through astrology. And he just invalidated the last 70 pages. He doesn't believe that anymore. He's read my book. I've discussed it with him, his chart. He put that in at the time, but absolutely he and I are on the same page. Yeah. So 70 pages is a great book. I encourage you to buy that. Also, his 70 pages are great, except for the last page. I agree with
the last
everything.
page.
Right. I have that book, and I'll get your book. There's no disputes, by the way, in regards to the timings and different when each mazel is. This is going to be something which is clear and concrete.
Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Sure, my pleasure.
And how do you put it together with the Myers-Briggs? You mentioned the personality.
So before I knew about astrology, I was very into the Myers-Briggs. I think it's so helpful. I encourage everybody to learn it because it also tells you your personality, what your particular area of gifts and strengths overall. Again, it's another piece of the puzzle. I'm a big believer in the Myers-Briggs and the personality types.
You can work together.
Yeah. Everything is added information. The more layers you understand, and the more things that you learn. And again, it opens your mind. It blows your mind that Hashem created a wild world full of so much information and so much to learn and grow. It's just wild. It's wild.
Okay, let's just do a few clarities and we'll go into the closing point. You mentioned, let's just clarify because you said it. I want to make sure people understand it, that like, if somebody gets like their mazel, understands it, and unblocks themselves, right? We stop then you'll have unbelievable shefa. Explain what that means, because people are teaching that and you'll be a multi-millionaire. That's not what I think you meant. Explain what that means.
Right. So shefa, again, so there's conscious and unconscious. When we start out in life, right? So actually, okay, there's the process of life. Our goal in life is not to be a millionaire, not fame. It's not about the ego. That's where another thing, I can show you at a different point in your life when you move, it's an opportunity to move beyond the ego. In our ego state, we're in survival. It's like almost animalistic, right? How can I survive? How can I get the most for myself? There's nothing wrong with that. This is the human process. So we want, wealth and fame and anything that fulfills my ego, right? But that's not what the purpose of this world is. Once we reach a certain point, once we come to consciousness, and that's what it means to be an Am Kaddish, we recognize there's something higher, there's something greater. I'm here to share a gift with the world. I'm here to uplift people. And when I'm doing that, then my needs are going to be met. Hashem provides air and water and all these different things. When I'm doing my purpose, Hashem provides for me. So you don't have to worry about that. Again, the goal is, if your goal, I told people who are Leo is all about being a courageous leader and standing up. It likes to be on center stage, but it can't be about your ego. If you're on center stage because it's me and ego, that's not going to serve your purpose. But if you have a great purpose of why you're on center stage, you're here to inspire people, you're here to help people, then you're doing your Tafkid. So it's not about the ego. So we have to remove that paradigm, goal of life, make a lot of money. No, that's not the goal of life. It will come. You will have what you need if you're doing your purpose.
Okay, let's go to the closing part. Let's wrap up. There's a lot of questions. I know a lot of people are texting me. Again, you can reach out to Rabbi Pinkesz. He gave his website. Then let's slowly give the website. The website is Kosher Astro.
KosherAstro.com. One word. Kosher Astro, ASTRO.com. And my book, Kosher Astrology, it's available on my website, but also you can find it on Amazon. You'll have it by tomorrow. Order on Kosher Astrology, A Jewish Guide to Celestial Wisdom. Make sure you see my name, Yitzchok A. Pinkesz, on the book.
Not the other version.
Right.
Not the other version. Got it. And if somebody wants a birth chart reading, you would recommend astro.com?
No.
Which
If you
website?
want to look at your chart,
Yeah,
at your
your
birth chart, not a birth chart reading, that's a very different thing. Birth chart is like what I showed you of Donald Trump, that circle that'll tell you your information. You can go to astro.com, but be careful because it tells you all kinds of other stuff, and then you start getting into astromancy or fatalistic stuff. Again, you have to know how to discern. I would say read the book first in order to do that. But getting your chart is pure. That's not an issue. You're not getting the description of your chart. You're just getting your chart to know where your planets are. If you want a birth chart reading, you can contact me on my website. You can sign up for a birth chart reading where I go in depth. So what I do is you'll give me your information.
How much does it cost a birth chart reading? How much does it
What?
cost? How much does it cost?
You can go to my website. Let me tell you what I do. So you'll give me your birth, your month, day, year, your time of birth, your city, state of birth. I'm going to then spend an hour or two delving into your chart, and I write up between 5 to 7 pages of insights into your chart, all of your great strengths, all of your great gifts, all of your great struggles. Then, in addition to all of who you are, what you're here to do, what your struggles are, all of that stuff, I also put in the last few years, currently now, and the next few years, the energies of the time of development. So if you have a struggle in your chart, right, I can show you when the timing, when it's meant to either be healed or when the next step of what you're here to do is meant to be. Again, I will never predict anything specific. It's just the general energies, but they can be incredibly powerful and showing you here you're ready to go through a major transformation in your life. You know, I talk about going from a caterpillar into a butterfly. That's, you tell a caterpillar that it can fly and it looks at you like you're crazy. I need 28 legs just to walk. I've never flown in my life. I can't fly. But then it goes through a process where it turns into a chrysalis and it emerges, it can fly. So it's incredible empowerment. I can go through that timing of when that's happening in your life. So that can be a time when your gifts can emerge. So we go through all of that stuff. So I prepare all of that in 5 to 7 pages. And then I set up a time to talk to you for around an hour where to go through explaining everything to you exactly. Now, there's a ton of information, so I insist that you record it because you're going to understand it as I tell it to you, but it can be very overwhelming to remember everything. And I've had people tell me that they listened for 10 hours to the recording because it's so powerful and it contains so much information. The birth chart is a ton of information and it helps you understand. And people are just thrilled. Baruch Hashem, literally every person who I've done a chart reading is thrilled to pieces with it, and they recommend their friends. I just had a woman, she did it for herself, she did it for her son, she did it just now, is doing it again for her other son. People are it's just so powerful to understand people, to understand your process. It's all there. All the information is on my website, kosherastro.com for that.
Okay. Let's go to the closing part. I hope everybody enjoyed tonight. It was definitely something way out there, and really you brought it down to somewhat reality that we could touch. We appreciate that. I'll go first, Menachem, then you. First of all, everybody who enjoyed tonight, cheer. On a 1 to 10, you can text on the chats that everybody can see. I'll open it up so everybody can text everybody. Just I want Pinkesz to see on a 1 to 10, how much did you learn and enjoy from tonight's share? You could write 1 if it was so terrible. You could be honest, right? And if it was great, say it. So we could text it in the chat so Pinkesz could see it. I just want to say that, listen, to live in the world and say that like this is all like, nonsense or, Emaz Yisrael, like those one line answers is very like invalidating, like trying to like shut down something. There's so many Gemaras about timing and planets, and people don't make Kiddush between 6 to 7 on Friday night, right? There's like, what is that? Like we want to like believe certain things, and like when it comes to the other, like the mazel, the fish, like, oh, we're all into that. What does that mean? Like, but it doesn't mean anything. So I think it's cute to not know it. Obviously, it's something that we're just not brought up with, and we're not comfortable with, and we don't really, you know what I mean? So it's hard for us, but I think it's something that everybody.
Thank you. I just want to say that's one of the reasons that I wrote this book, is to open the door. I feel like the door was closed. People were like,
and you're gonna
not
be happy
comfortable with it,
and
but
you're
the
gonna be rich,
goal
and all
is
your
to
problems are
really
gonna get
bring it
solved.
out.
It's just showing you some of your attributes. It could help, right? So you could see that. So somebody's sitting behind the desk, and he knows that he's a super. Sorry, Menachem, I'm good.
Continue.
So I'm saying that when you get your reading and you see that you have a better outdoor character or this, if you could understand your traits better, you could just more work on that. It's not something that's gonna tell you the magic answer, you're gonna win the lottery. It's gonna tell you you strengthen this. You're more a realistic person. You're more a goal-oriented person. Whatever it is, those are small attributes in your personality, but you could really, I guess, really grow on that and do the work that it is. But anyway, thank you, Rabbi Pinkesz, for coming on. It was definitely very different tonight, and I'm very appreciative. And we'll turn it over to Coach Menachem.
Wow. Yitzchok, you did a great job.
Yitzchok, did you see all the chat? You see on the box? You see the comments?
Yes, let me see. Yeah, let me open it up.
The chat.
Move all the way to the bottom.
Yes.
That's all for you. Okay, Coach Menachem, go.
So what I would say, Yitzchok, you did a good job, and now I understand why you're here. You know, we discuss every Sunday night a different understanding of ourselves, how to connect to ourselves, connect to Hashem, and here we are working on Amunah B'Tochen, and this is the goal. The goal is to become closer to Hashem, serving Hashem. The reason why we're here in this world, and the way you're putting it down is, number one, to see how Hashem runs the world, be connected to it, understand what your koiches are, understand your relationship, what the gifts that Hashem gave you, and the clarity. If a person has clarity to know, where am I? Why do I feel this way? Why is this happening? What does it mean? You know, they don't have to know 100%, but the ideas that you're saying, I think it takes our whole understanding to the next level, whether it's about ourselves, our family, our business, our koiches, and this is exactly our mission Sunday night. We're looking to grow. We're looking to become better, closer to our, work on our relationships, working on life. And here we are. We learned a new thing tonight. So the bracha is, Hashem should help us. We should all have mazel tov, and we should be able to connect, learn, grow. And that's what it is. And we should be zoche, especially in the 3 weeks. You know, people say, well, what's the downside? Listen, we are in Gulis. We're crying. We're looking for, we're waiting for Mashiach. There's a lot going on. You might not like everything, but we have challenges. What's the tachlis? What's my tafkid? What do I have to do now? And that's what it is. So thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. It's only the beginning.
Okay, Rabbi Yitzchok Pinkesz, you're here 2 hours. What's your closing remarks you want to leave for the crowd that is listening tonight, and I'm sure all the thousands of people that will listen to it later? What do you want to leave us with?
First of all, thank you so much for hosting me, for sure. But I'll tell you, the biggest thing, the most powerful thing for me is Hashem's personal involvement in your life. More than anything, that's what astrology shows me. Astrology shows me that Hashem cares about me personally. That this, if you look at the sun, right? The sun is an incredible gift that Hashem gave for the whole world. The world couldn't exist without the heat and the warmth of the sun. But that's for 8 billion people. It's for me too, but it's for everybody. In astrology, the chart is for me. This is a unique thing that Hashem created for me, the energies of the solar system, and implanted in me. And it's so encouraging and it's so loving. That's the thing. People don't like, and people struggle. We're going through a hard time, and it's hard sometimes to see, but this shows such incredible love that Hashem loves us, and Hashem wants us to succeed. I can't stress this enough. This is such a crucial thing. It's personal, it's individual. You have a unique plan. And it's just an incredible relation with Hashem, just understanding the plan that He has for you, and to doing your gifts and doing your abilities. Because I have to tell you, when you do your Tafkid, when you bring out your gifts, there's no greater feeling in the world. It's just so powerful how it makes you feel like $1 million, literally. Not the real, that's the real money, is your self-value, knowing I'm doing what Hashem created me to do. I'm bringing it to the world. I'm making an impact. And it just feels incredible. And it's just so personal. So this is, to me, it's about our personal relationship with Hashem. Hashem loves us. That's the big key.
All right, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Hopefully it'll be a very successful week. And we'll see everybody next Sunday night with Charlie Rari, Erev Tisha B'Av Shir. And again, we'll email out the links for Rabbi Pinkesz's website, the book, all the information, and everybody have a great week. Thank you very much. Good night.